All right, back in the garage, back at it. I've got a few different things I'm going to be working on today. One of them is blow-off valves. So I'm not a big fan of destroying original parts. So got the hose. I ordered a replacement that I can kind of cut and fit. I think it's going to work. Instead of cutting the original, hose. I don't really want to do that. I will if I have to, but always try to avoid doing that. I also 3D printed out of TPU, which is a flexible material, a cap that'll go on right here, down here, to cap off the hose that will now run into the blow-off valve. So we'll see how that works out. And then I 3D printed, you can see this piece that's moving, a mount for the blow-off valve that will sit on my shock tower, which I'll show you here in a second. But I think it's going to work. I've got to see if I can find some screws that can go down to over the existing shock tower bolt to hold it in place. But I think it's going to work. And then a few other things. I've got some brakes. Those are the rear shoes. I've got front pads coming. I've got a catch can that I'm going to eventually install. I've been messing around with a few other things, but the goal today is to kind of figure out this blow-off valve situation, see if I can make it work, see if I can make it fit. So yeah, I'll try to capture what I can. Worst case, I'll just show you what I did. But that's today's project. Once I'm done with that, I might move on to one of these other things. I have a list. I've got to get an oil change done. I've got the oil. I've got the filters. I've got new spark plugs. So I've got plenty of things to do. I've got a few more 3D printed parts I'll plan to share. I know I shared one yesterday, I think it was, at least from the filming of this video, for this cap to cover up your rear defrost wires, which I know get damaged. As you can see, mine is broken. Gosh, I'm not good with this camera. Mine is broken. I tried to solder it back in place. I think it'll be all right for now, but that's just kind of magnets on there. I'm going to make some tweaks because when I slam the door, it starts to fall off. So I either need stronger magnets, or I'm going to put a little tab here, because even though this is plastic, the metal behind it is still got enough the magnets are strong enough to give it enough grab to hold onto that. So I'm thinking I'll put another tab on that to have another set of magnets to hold it in place. We'll go from there, but I'm pretty happy with it. It's a little bit of work to do. I have one for the other side too, but that one's not broken. That one's actually in good shape. And then my other thought was, and I started to do it, but to create a little cap that I can put in there just to kind of cover that hole up and prevent that wire from being a little easy to tug on, intentionally or not. So got my new design for my seat rail cup holder, which I'm pretty happy with. Again, I'm going to test it out for a little bit, see how it works. My first version, it was too far to the right and it was getting in the way of my driving leg. So I moved it so it would be more centered into the seat. So it should kind of sit between both legs, out of the way enough, whereas your feet move, whether you have a manual or automatic, that it won't get in the way. So that'll be pretty nice. But we'll see how that turns out. I know I had a different video that I shared, but I did replace my tensioner, which caused a whole bunch of other problems because I reinstalled my belt wrong. But that's since been fixed and have no problem since. In fact, I was able to replace the tensioner tighter, so the belt squeaking I was getting is gone. I don't think it was the tensioner. My old tensioner seems to be in good shape. I mean, it's dirty and old. But if you look at it, like, you know, it spins freely. It's hard to tell if it's making any noise. I can't tell from here without, you know, it being on and having some pressure on it and stuff. But either way, the squeaking is gone. A few other things, and if you've been on the Facebook groups, you've seen other people post about this, but I found a post about how if I start the car, it's almost like it's idling low for like 5 seconds. It's super fast, and then you can feel it kick in. I just thought it was, you know, kind of idle speed and all that kind of stuff, adjustments. But what I found out is that there's on the throttle body, and I don't know if I'm able to capture this, down here, you can see the spring. It just gets a little dirty and corroded. And my understanding is I should clean it off and lube it up. It's not the spring, I guess. It's the actuator next to it. And you can actually see there's actually some corrosion on there. So, sorry, not the spring itself, but this actuator right here. So I'm gonna see if I can get that cleaned up and lubed and see if that helps that part. And then the other thing I might play with is the steering box. So I've seen a video, I think it was from Anything Wheeled or one of those guys, where they had what I remember being bad play in the steering wheel. So super loose, and he went in and tightened that box and got it to a really good spot. Mine, it has no play at all. It's super tight. In fact, like almost too tight. Like it's so loose and free. I think the post I found is someone described it as like driving a toy. And they shared that they fixed it by just like a little quarter turn on that steering box. And they were able to kind of just tighten it up a bit and make it a little heavier so it doesn't feel so loose and wild. So I might play with that too. But yeah, I mean, it's just nonstop. Some of the things I create myself, and I love. Some are just, I've only had this for about a month now. I do drive it every day to work. So it's just, maintenance stuff, really stuff that I just want to make sure I know has been done. I know some stuff has been done before based on the guy I bought it from and, just some of the history I've got. But, it's always nice to know that you've done it and then you can kind of track from there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some stuff. I definitely want to get the oil changed. Because I know these engines are sensitive to that. So I just want to know that I've done it, and then I can kind of track from my mileage and keep track of it that way. But another thing I've done that I haven't shared is I've installed a subwoofer. So you can see the big old fuse there. I've run, obviously, all the necessary wiring through the car to the remote on the back of the stereo. You can kind of see where the wiring comes out right there under my carpets. And then it goes to the back, and it's kind of hard to see because it's dark. Let me see if I can turn this light on. See if that works. There you go. I don't know if that helps, but there you go. It mounts just on the side. I used couple little strips of 3M tape, and have a piece down here and a piece back here, and it's pretty sturdy. But I love how it's kind of tucked away. I've got those speakers up there in the back. I've got door speakers, or not door, but footwell speakers, and then I've got these little tweeters. And so I because I daily drive it, I really wanted to have decent enough quality sound. So I figured I'd get it cheap. I think it was like $60 on Amazon. It's that Vivor brand. We'll see how long it lasts, but it's wired. So if I have to replace it, I don't have to run everything again. I can just kind of swap out wiring or swap out the sub itself. Oh, another thing I got that I'm really excited about. My car is missing, as you can see right here, the interior side of the window trim. You can kind of see there's holes. And so I was looking for replacements. Found a set on eBay. I think it was like $30. but not for this. I want to say it was for a Samurai. I took a chance on it. I got both the inner pieces and the outer pieces. My outer pieces are there, but as I compared them to the new ones, my outer ones are hard as a rock. So like these things, these do not budge. Like you can see the whole thing moves. It does, like the flexible part. It's not flexible anymore. They're just old and rotted. But what I realized is that to get the inner one in, I think I need to have the window rolled all the way up and take the door panel off so I can come in from that side. I can't get it through the top. There's just no way to kind of squeeze it in there, and worried about scratching paint because of the little prongs that have to go in the holes. So that's something I'm excited about. It's little. I know it's, you know, just window seals, but I do get a bit of a wind noise, and I'm not sure it's coming from that or from the main door seals. But, you know, because these are hard as a rock and I'm going to do the inners anyway, I might as well just replace the outers while I'm at it because I have them. But if you want a link to it, I'm happy to share. Again, I found them on eBay. It actually came from India. So it took a couple weeks to get here. But the guy was great. Like, he had a problem with the shipment the first time. It got somehow stopped at customs and sent back. And I reached out and he was like, don't worry about it, I'm sending it again. So he sent it again, and I got them, I don't know, yesterday maybe. So something else I want to work on and get installed. So I do have front brakes coming. The rears are here. Yeah, so anyway, long-winded way of saying, like, I've got some stuff to do, and my immediate project is going to try to figure out this blow-off valve. So like I said, I'll document when I can and share that, and I'll likely do videos on all these other things that I've just touched on, just so, you know, you can at least see what I'm doing, and hopefully it helps you in some way. I got all my 3D parts. If you check out Jason and the Jimny on Facebook, or Instagram, or even on some of the Jimny Facebook groups. There's a few of them that I've been posting on, probably too much. Been hitting those channels pretty hard, but I at least share what I'm working on. I do have a bunch of my 3D parts for sale. Got my cup holder that I'm super happy with. It's working out really well. That's, you know, the one that goes in the console. But this new one that I designed for the seat rail, I actually might. I love the console one. It looks good. It feels like it belongs. But this one down here, you know, might be the handier one. Super simple. If you haven't noticed in all the things that I design, like, I don't like to drill holes. I don't love using tape, although I have. I mean, even this fuse, I didn't screw it in. Not sure you can tell, but I just used some of that 3M automotive tape to hold it in place because I just don't like drilling holes in these cars. I will as an absolute last resort, but it's not my preference. So I also, this radiator overflow hose was missing when I got it. So I just grabbed one at AutoZone and threw it on there, and it now drains out the bottom. So if it overflows, it doesn't make a mess of my engine bay. Hopefully that's a problem I won't have. But yeah, I created those bumper clips or grill clips. So for the grill, like these clips that are here, they break so easily. At least on mine, I pulled this bumper off this grill off one time, and 3 out of 4 of them broke. So I designed new ones, kind of just used one and kind of just followed the design, and, you know, replaced them. So now they're on there. Feels pretty good. I've been driving around this way. Like, it's pretty locked on there. The only screw that I have is here, in the middle. So I don't have a lot of other things holding on. It hasn't come off. Pretty happy with that. I did move my fogs. So if you saw my earlier video, I actually had them mounted up here and sideways because the stuff that's behind this was getting in the way of the angle. So I wasn't able to kind of level them out. They were pointing more at the ground than I liked. So I got a little creative. I need to fix this one. It's mounted wrong, but it's still working. But you can see right here, hopefully you can see it, there's a little piece between the bracket and the bolt or the nut. I just 3D printed these wedges that go on the top and bottom. that and the screw goes through, or the bolt goes through it. So as you mount it, it levels it off so I can get them more straight. And it's worked out really well. And they're actually in a better position than they were before. I didn't hate where they were before, but this is where I wanted to begin with. So I'm really happy with that solution. And then I just ran rubber grommets in these old holes just to kind of block them off. No big deal, but I just thought it looked better than a hole. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling now. So I'm going to get over to blow off valve. I'll film some of that, but did want to at least give you just a general update on all the different things going on here for me. I feel bad because my other cars are being neglected. This one drove really, really hard in the Mount of Gatlinburg. My front tires kind of show the results of cruising through the mountains. But it held up really well. Didn't have any major issues. We drive hard for 3 days straight, about 8 hours a day. And it did great. Didn't break down on me. I am burning a little oil, so I got some new valve seals I'll eventually do, which I'm sure will lead to a bunch of other things I'll do while I'm doing that work. But yeah, I put disc brakes on it before I left, and it worked out really well to have those for that trip. I'm glad I had them versus the drums that were on it before. Still trying to sell the Beetle. I'd say I'm in a hurry just because I want the space back in my garage, but I'm happy to at least have space for it. So it's not sitting outside, neither is the Jimny or any of the other cars. So it's fine. I'm in not necessarily in a major rush. I'd like to get what I want for it. I'm not asking a lot. Like I said, I'm asking 10 grand. I feel like it's worth it based on how mechanically sound it is, and it's solid. There's nothing but some surface rust here and there, nothing terrible, but a good running car. So we'll see. All right, anyway, enough about that. I'm gonna get into this blow off valve, and we'll come back after that. Thanks. Okay, so as you saw, I mean, that's not terrible. Love my little bracket. It worked out pretty well. It's hard to see in there because it's kind of shoved in there, but I can't find a bolt to go over the shock tower that I at least have that fits. So I found one that's pretty close. I was able to at least get it. It's probably the wrong pitch, but I was at least able to get it on the first thread or toe too. I didn't over tighten it or anything, but enough just to kind of hold it in place until I find a bolt that does fit. So if anybody knows what that size is, by all means, toss me a note. I also need to find my, I think this is it, my little cap goes on here. There you go, just to block off that opening where I took the hose off. So I'm just gonna set that, I don't think that's going anywhere, so I'm not gonna clamp that down. It's on there pretty good. And then I've got it wired up, so the blue hose that comes with goes on the back side of the blow-off valve. I've routed it around using the existing clips where the original hose goes into. Thought around, it would normally go into this port here. At least that's what I've seen from some of the other videos like Colt's Place and way before the Fame or whatever his channel's called. But I'm running a boost gauge and I'm using this for the boost gauge. And so I just teed it off of that. I think it's gonna work. We're gonna find out. So let's start it up. See how it sounds.